This is Alice's first time seeing me above him, so I'm just gonna get up on this fence panel and kind of desensitize him to just me being up higher than him. So we'll see kind of how this goes. So I just want to kind of touch him, make sure he thinks that it's still me, just different sized. So I'm gonna give him a treat here. He's seeming to handle this pretty well. Some horses can get really afraid of this. He has seen me up on the mounting block before, so he has seen me get on stuff and become taller, so he's handling it fairly well right here. But I'm just gonna give him some positive reinforcement and just pet on him and let him hang out here. Like, I'm not gonna ask him anything. I'm not gonna ask him to come stand next to me or come up to me or anything yet. I just want him to get used to me being above him and make sure that that's a positive thing for him. So he just, so I guess I don't want to get up on the panel and then immediately ask him to do something and he gets scared, and then he has this negative pressure-filled memory of me being up above him for the first time, and I just want everything to be nice and relaxed and positive and calm. So we're just gonna hang out here with him and let him munch on some hay, and he's kind of wanting to move up closer, which is nice. So I'm gonna click him and give him a whole bunch of hay, so just making this really positive. So, and then he can hang out and just kind of chew on that. But because he's coming up on his own, and because he's not necessarily been trained, but he's used to me coming up and standing kind of in the middle of his neck. And that was one of the things I was working on with him, is just me changing sides and standing next to him while he remains calm. So he does know how to do that. So I'm happy that he offered that while I'm up on the fence. He doesn't have to. He's kind of leaning in here a little bit, which is fine too. This is just that first step, and I want to make sure he's okay with the touch. He's a little unsure, but he lets me pet him, so I'll just kind of approach and retreat here because he's a little unsure. So I'm just going to let him touch me first, and then I'll click right there, because I would reach my hand down and he kind of leans away and his neck gets tense, so I'm just going to let him target my hand. So I found that works really well with both the Mustangs, and I've taught them that from the ground first, but you can use it obviously from here too. So it works out pretty well, because then they know that you're not just going to touch them. You're going to watch for their signs, like you're understanding them. You're not just forcing things on them. And then you give them opportunity to come to you versus you just grabbing them. So I'll let him hang out here. He's got his ear on me. He's kind of looking up a little bit, and see, he'll kind of bring his head back a little bit, but overall not too bad. He's interested. He's leaning toward me, kind of investigating me. So I'll click when my hand was on his forehead there, and I'll give him some more hay. He's investigating again. He's kind of reaching toward me a little bit, letting me pet on him. So all those are really good signs. And then using the hay here works really well because, first of all, he hasn't quite learned how to take a treat from my hand. He'll learn that in the next couple of videos. But the hay gives him an opportunity to really chew and relax. And if a horse is really worried and nervous, they're not going to chew. So this just helps him chew and relax and move those muscles and make it a good positive experience. So he's worried, so I took my hand back and just let him target my hand again. Like, you could tell he's worried there when I was trying to give him some hay, and he kind of jumped a little bit. I'm not going to be too worried about getting toward his back or anything. I just want him comfortable with me above him. And Atlas is a really tight horse. He wants to be high-headed. He wants to be tense and freeze and move and jump and stuff. So little steps for Atlas is what he needs to build some confidence. Also, as you can tell, like, I'm going to hold on right here, wait for him to target my hand, then I'll click, and I'll go ahead and give him a handful of hay. So I went to go reach down and touch him, and you could tell he was tense. He raises his neck up, and he kind of just tilts his head to look at me. So I'm just going to wait and allow him to touch me first. So I'm just going to let him sit here. So he's being fairly relaxed. He's kind of shaking his head around, thinking about getting a fly. Sometimes he wants to just stay really still and not move at all, so that's good. He's come a little bit closer, so I clicked him there when he was starting to move closer to me. But Atlas really has a tendency to just kind of stand there. Like if a bug's biting him and he's afraid of like my presence or whatever we're working on, he'll just stand there and kind of not try to get it and like freeze. So at least he's actively trying to get it. He's moving around. He's not shutting down. His ears are working. So that's really good. But he does have a tendency to do that. And you can see that in some of his other videos too. But I'm just going to let him work this out. Like I want him to feel comfortable enough to, go ahead and get the fly and rub your face on your leg. So he came up again. I'm going to click him when he was moving forward and go ahead and give him another treat. And he took that really relaxed. You could see his lips moving and he's coming up closer, trying to look at me. So I'll click him here because he's showing an interest. So he's kind of tilting his head, but more in like a curious way versus head up, really tense. Their eyes get really wide. So again, he's going to come forward. I'm going to hold my hand out. He's going to touch it right there. There we go. And I'll click him and give him another handful of hay. So overall, for his first time seeing me above him, this is pretty good. Really with Atlas, we're doing nice and slow steps. We're not in a hurry. We're not on a time crunch. So he's just going to do this one side. There again, he came closer to me, so I'm going to reward him. But obviously do the same thing from the other side. Take your time. I like to do it at Liberty in the beginning. You can also do it with the halter on. I want to say I do that with Castor. So there will be a video at some point with one of the horses with the halter on. But make sure that your whatever fence that you're on is nice and sturdy. This is a round pen panel, and then it's held down with it's chained down to the T-post, so it's pretty stable. If you're getting on a wood fence, make sure it's nice and solid before you do that so you don't fall off. But I'm just going to hold my hand out and wait for him to touch it. There we go, and I'll click him and go ahead and feed him. So this is a really nice start for Atlas.